Let's do it. And get a little roll of paint right on the edge of the knife. Prussian blue, Van Dyke brown. These two are at about equal parts.
Hey, what's up, everybody? First of all, let me say Happy New Year. 2020 is now here. A lot of people are like, year of 2020, clear vision, all that good stuff. I've been trying to be on that clear vision since way back when, but since it's the new, all right, Happy New Year 2020. Hope everybody's year started off great. Mine did. Today was a good day. Posted on Facebook that the McCoy household is now stripping away the power of Christmas. Actually, I put it the way of Zuri from Black Panther. The McCoy household will now have the power of Christmas stripped away. But let me just officially welcome y'all to the first installment of I Said What I Said, Don't At Me, the year 2020. And this is the first episode that is now being posted via DatFeelin. The homies over at DatFeelin were gracious enough to bring me into their fold to kind of help me get my podcast out there a little bit more. They got a bit bigger audience. I will be, I'm sure, having a couple of them on, a couple of interviews so you can get to know them, their music, their podcasts, and a whole bunch of other things. So it's just always good to have a group of people around you who have kind of similar goals, and you guys can, so people can come together, kind of brainstorm and combine their vision and move forward together as a movement. So it's good that I got into the business with them, or into the I guess you say the industry, the business, whatever. Shout out to my boy Kelvin Cately. You guys know him as Black Mac. I had him on a couple of my podcasts. So he's the one who kind of runs the whole podcast department of DatFeelin. So again, good looking out, Black. I appreciate you bringing me in on the fold. But I want to start this by telling you a disclaimer, right? So I tried to record this episode. Actually, I did record a whole episode on New Year's Eve, trying to talk about what I was leaving behind 2019, what I'm trying to get into in 2020. And it was a pretty good podcast. I tooting my own horn, toot. I thought it was pretty good. But for some reason, when I tried to upload it, or try to use Adobe Premiere, or just upload the MP3 to Transistor. I've been with these dudes for a while, and I still go back and forth between Transistor and Transitor. I think it's Transistor. I'll keep saying Transistor. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I tried uploading it on there, but it wouldn't recognize MP3 file. And all I had was the audio from the video that I recorded, and it just didn't sound right. It wasn't coming across. There were times where it was hard to hear me, and I would try to turn the volume up on certain areas, and then other parts would be too loud. So I was just not going to post it, right? It was going to be my last one before moving over to DatFeelin, but I felt like I still needed to get this podcast out there. Not so much for you guys. I mean, I do appreciate you guys listening and everything, but more for me. So when I do talk about the changes that I'm planning on making in 2020, not just for you guys to hear it and be like, oh, yay for you, but also for me, so I can hold myself accountable. So when the end of this year comes, I can listen to this podcast today and see if I achieved all the things I wanted to do. So it's more of a kind of a contract that I'm holding myself to, is what this podcast is. And you guys are along for the ride. So hopefully you guys can keep me honest and keep me on my plan for 2020 and the great things that I have planned for that. So let me just say, these 4 things that I want to talk about are the biggest lesson that I learned in 2019, my goals for 2020, what I want to leave behind in 2019, and what do I want to add to my year in 2020. And I got these 4 categories off of a podcast that I watch and listen to regularly. It's called Righteous and Ratchet, and it's a podcast hosted by a comedian who kind of made his way. He's on the rise, and he started out on social media. His name's Kev on Stage, and he has a homeboy, Doughboy is his name, and they both host this podcast, Righteous and Ratchet, and they both started out on All Def, which was kind of like a social media comedy thing. And I mean, if you go to YouTube, search All Def, it's good content they have on there. And like the studio, like they would go behind the scenes, and it is what they built over there is what I hope one day to be a part of, something like that, where I can work and make money with my friends like that. So hopefully this is the stepping stone to doing that. But they had an end of year podcast, and these were the 4 things that they talked about. So I thought it was a pretty good idea to do the same. And so that's what I'm doing. So without further ado, I know I've been talking long enough. Let me go ahead and get in on it. Get in on it. All right. So first thing I'm going to talk about is the biggest lesson learned in 2019. And I will say, I kind of alluded to it earlier, but learn to surround yourself with people who are like-minded and have the same motivation and are looking to achieve the same level of success that you want, right? Like-minded people, like-minded individuals, not so much that you can mooch off each other or anything, but just a genuine desire to see everybody win, right? Jay-Z had a song on his 444 album, and it was I think it was Family Ties, and he had a line in one of his verses that says, nobody wins when the family feuds, right? And I feel that, right? The opposite is true as well. Like, I like to say, hey, when one of us wins, we all win. If I eat, everybody eat, right? And that's the mindset I'm going into with this whole movement over to DatFeelin, right? I see what they're trying to get into. I see the movement that they're creating. And in order for them to allow me, or just the fact that they're allowing me to contribute and play a part in it is amazing. And I want to go back even further before I even started doing the podcast, right? I was doing videos on Facebook, kind of just venting or speaking my mind on certain things on Facebook. And it was back in, I think, September. I was going to post a video on Facebook about how everybody's feeling bad, or some people feeling kind of way. I'm going to say some people. So kind of like the reaction of the black fan base of the NFL when they found out that Jay-Z and the NFL were partnering up. And everybody was just like hating the NFL because of the Colin Kaepernick thing. So people were calling Jay-Z a sellout, so forth and so on. And just standing behind Cap for whatever reason. And I had some feelings about that. So I went ahead and recorded a video. I didn't post it on Facebook. I sent it to a couple of my friends who I feel, because they also post videos and speak their mind as well. Sometimes their opinions are way outside the box. Sometimes their opinions are, status quo. So I just decided to send it to them, see how it is. Because again, they like to do their research as well. When they post things, they make sure that they're researched and well articulated and knowledgeable on the situation. So I wanted them to look at it and then give me any kind of feedback to see if I missed anything, or if any of the information I was given was false, or if they had more information that I could add to what I wanted to say. I just wanted to make sure that when I posted something on Facebook, that it's just not clickbait. Like, I'm just not saying anything to get people to click on it and read it, and interactions and stuff like that. So I sent it to them, and they were like, yo, this is dope. And then a friend of mine was like, hey, I got a podcast. I was just like, how do you go about that? Because I'm thinking, like, to have a podcast, you need retarded amount of equipment and stuff like that. And when you get to a certain level of doing podcasts, you do. But for just starting out and just, getting my voice out there, you really don't. You know what I'm saying? You really don't. And they kind of opened my eyes to that. And that's how I kind of got into this. And here I am now, right? So shout out to my boys. Again, Kelvin Cately, my man. He's the one that told me about the app to get me started doing it, because I was recording my first, 7 episodes on on my cell phone and posting it up using Anchor. But free shout out to Anchor for getting me started. But Kately, and then my boy Pittman, Terrence Pittman, man, he's over there in Hawaii. Still waiting for him to get back on his podcast thing, because he was doing it for a while too. So shout out to him. And then we brought in a third person, my boy Ant White, who is waiting the birth of his first child. So shout out to him and his beautiful wife. And waiting for you to get back into the game too, man. Like I know that me and them are destined for great things, man. The level of ambition that these guys have is second to none, and the passion that they put into this. All right, just shout out to y'all. I'm getting emotional talking about y'all. Shout out, salute y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. But that goes for me too, right? So just having them around me kind of motivates me to want to be better at what I'm doing, right? Not so much just for the podcast thing and getting out there, but just in life in general. I know a lot of people post making their circle smaller and things like that, which is a awesome thing to do, as long as the resizing of your circle to make it smaller, just make sure that includes people who are there to push you and get the best out of you. Because a lot of people will make their circle smaller by cutting off people that they don't like, and they don't like them because those people are actually pushing them to become better versions of themselves, right? So it's a thin line between trying to make your circle smaller just because people bother you all the time, and then making it smaller because you're trimming the dead weight off. So just that's one of the things that I'm trying to learn. I learned that a lot through 2019, trying to carry a lot of people. And sometimes those people just weren't the best fit for me at that time, or it wasn't the season for me to have them in my life. But I'm doing a better job of trying to make sure that my circle around me is what I need for what I'm trying to do in my life. So that's what I learned 2019. Biggest lesson learned. All right. So my goals for 2020. So I know a lot of you guys who have known me have told me that I've been known to make you laugh once or twice. And I've had opportunities to do stand-up comedy at a couple of open mics and stuff. I would hype myself up to do it, and then I would not do it, right? So here in 2020, starting on the 21st of January, I'll be attending a class held at a comedy club here, kind of like intro to stand-up comedy is what it's called. And it's a 8-week course, one class a week from 6:30 to 9:30. And what it does is kind of teach you how to hone and properly put together a 5-minute set, right? And at the last week of the course in March will be a student showcase in which all the students perform their 5-minute sets in front of an audience at the comedy club. So I signed up for that. I'm excited for it. It is. I know it's a art being a stand-up comedian. I know we watch a lot of the stand-up comedy specials and stuff, and these guys make it look easy, but they've been doing it for years and years. Like some of them starting in their teens, and now they're in their 30s and blown up. So they've been doing it going on 20 years, and they're reaping the benefits of their work. And I'm dabbling in it, so I know it's going to take a while, but I'm willing to get out there and see see what happens, see if this is something I can do. And if not, I gave it a shot. But just something that I want to try doing. And so I know that goal is going to be met because I already paid money to do it. So I'm going to do it. I'll keep you guys updated throughout my classes too. I'll let you know how that's going. Another thing I want to do in 2020 is finish writing this book. Kind of a while back, I just started writing stories. I don't know. So my first deployment 2003. In 2003, we were in Baghdad and we were out there for about 8 months. And the only way a lot of us got through it is being able to laugh and to make some jokes. And actually, that deployment was probably my best one, my favorite one, most memorable one. I'll say that, even though on paper people would look at it and be like, "That, how did you do that? That looks like a horrible time. Like your life was at risk daily," and it was. But at the end of the day, because everybody was going through the same stuff, man, to have that bond, to be able to just laugh about some of the small things and just be able to have fun and joke. It's like a defense mechanism for me, and it was like that for a lot of the people that I was deployed with. So I would write, small stories about daily experiences out there with a comedic twist on it. A lot of people I sent it to like my friends at first, and then like they would send it to somebody, and it went around, and soon it became like what people were looking forward to every week or every other day or something like that. Like, yo, you ain't got no stories today, Will? So from back then, people were just like, yo, you should probably get a book going. And I decided to just start, on a Word document, just start typing, kind of like my POV of growing up, my point of view, growing up as, for the longest, a middle child, military brat, older brother, younger brother, and then later on a sister, So, of course, in my style of comedy. And it looks like it's going to be, I think it's going to be pretty good. But again, like I was just typing, so I'm not even trying, I wasn't even thinking about editing or trying to format it to read as a story or easily be readable or anything like that. And I think I'm going to start focusing on that, seeing publishing and editing and stuff like that, because a lot of my friends have been putting books out there. Not to say that it's easy because they're doing it. However, if they can do it, why not? You know what I'm saying? Why can't I get out there and dabble into that medium too? So that's another thing I'm going to try and do. Obviously, also continue to try to grow on social media. How am I doing that? Just being more active. Try to put something out there daily. It doesn't have to be a full podcast or a full video. Although I will try to keep making videos like that. Try to figure out the best way to maximize Instagram versus Facebook versus YouTube. Maybe get on Twitter, because I think Twitter is where I'm missing out at. So I'll try to dabble on that. Try to get more material out there. Also start up this Patreon where I'll put bonus content on there, pretty much a bonus episode of the podcast. That'll be kind of separate from the DatFeelin thing. So DatFeelin will get a weekly one, and then I'll also post a bonus episode for Patreon. But that's later. That's later on down once I kind of get a better feel for what I'm doing. But that's my goal, just to kind of start growing my brand. Speaking of that, shout out to April Ryan, wife of a coworker of mine. She designed this awesome "Holla at Your Boy" image graphic that I'll be using on my videos at the end of my video podcast. And also I'll try to get them on some shirts and stuff, because right now I got a lot of stuff and I just want to put it on shirts for me. I know I'm not big enough to have merch, sending merch out and all that other stuff, but because that stuff's expensive, man. I was looking at all these sites where you like print shirts and stuff like that, and they be asking for some money, and I'm just like, I don't even know if people want to buy these things, but I don't know. I'll put it out there, see if anybody wants to buy I'll do a design, send it out there, see if anybody wants it. If so, I can, order it, whatnot, send it to you. But yeah, April, Ryan, thank you so much for hooking me up with the Holla at Your Boy graphic. And then, of course, my homeboy, Mike Foster, who created the Mac, aka Your Boy logo that you see at the bottom of the screen. I think it'll be this side of the bottom of the screen, one of these corners, right? He also is in the process of creating a cover for my podcast. I said what I said, don't at me. And he sent me kind of like some temp images, and they look amazing. So I sent him a couple of tweaks and stuff. So I know those will be coming back soon. And then you'll also see that kind of leading off the video. So, I mean, it's going to be good. I think I'm setting myself up pretty good here. So, yep, that's my goal, one of my goals in 2020. What do I want to leave behind in 2019? Now, this one, believe it or not, took me a while because there's a lot of mistakes that I would say I want to learn from. I know my first category was like biggest lesson learned, surround yourself with the right people, right? So what I want to leave behind is the biggest one I found was self-doubt. And I kind of alluded to it when I was talking about or my goals about the stand-up, how I wanted to do stand-up, how I had the desire to want to do stand-up, but then I would doubt myself because I'd be like, yo, what if I get out there and nobody else out there has my sense of humor? Because a lot of the people that tell me, yo, I'm funny, we have kind of shared experiences, right? So I can make jokes and stories about those experiences, and they get it because we've been through the shit together, right? When you're out there in a crowd, you got to be able to be relatable to everybody out there. Not everybody's in the military. Not everybody's black. Not everybody, was a middle child with the baby being the daughter and super spoiled and you out. You know what I'm saying? So that would always be my get out of jail. Like I'd be like, no, I'm not gonna do it because they're not gonna get my sense of humor. They're not gonna laugh at me. They'll probably boo me. That'll crush my spirit, Because everybody has an ego. Nobody wants to be booed. But then you talk to all stand-up comedians, and they're just like, yo, there's been nights where they've bombed and they just packed up and worked on their material and moved on. So, I mean, I just got to be willing to do that. I got some thick skin, being in my line of work. You take some criticism and you just got to move on, right? You just can't wallow on it. So I feel like self-doubt, the book, there's a lot of things that I talk myself out of doing or at least trying, right? And I don't want to be done with something or look back and be like, man, what if? You know what I'm saying? What if I had did that? Where would I be? Would that have worked for me? Would that have helped me blow up? Would that, you know what I'm saying? So that is something I want to leave behind. Another thing I want to leave behind is, I also alluded to this as well, people who take me for granted, people who take more than they give, parasites pretty much. So people who just leech my life source, who aren't my children, because they do that and legally they can, right? Legally they can do that. But as for other people, like I am all for helping people position themselves to succeed. I'm all for making sure my coworkers get the shine that they deserve, positioned themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm there to help give the assist. Like I want to be the Steve Nash. I want to give everybody assists. I want everybody to eat. I want everybody to succeed. I will do what I can to help. Like if you have a business or something, like the people I'm talking about, like April and Mike, just two people who are trying to get out there and get their business out there, get their talents out there so people know what they can do and probably they can profit and make some money off of doing this stuff. So I'm all for that. The side note is, or the thing on that is, a lot of people are just like, you should be wanting to do that without wanting anything in return. And it's not like I want monetary stuff in return, right? So I saw somebody post something like this on Instagram is, or no, it was on Facebook. I think my homeboy Dion did this. He was like, he has a business that he's trying to promote as well, and trying to turn into something that he can live off of, to be a job, an occupation. If he supports, he said, if I support your business, and I think it was more of a meme. He didn't say this. I don't think it's a direct quote from him. But if I support your business as a friend, I should expect you to support my business as well. You know, i.e., hey, if you do something, I post it, I share it. All I'm looking for is, you to share my business as well. You don't have to buy into it. You don't have to do that. Just share it. Get my free publicity out there. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I'm about. I had a podcast a while back, one of my earlier ones, where anybody who I knew who had a business, I was just trying to get their name out there. Even with the little bit of audience I had, I think it was like 50 some odd people, or I think that one had like 80 something streams or listeners or something like that. They weren't followers, so I think they just happened to come across it on whatever platform that they listen to podcast on. But I mean, it got the word out there, right? That's all I was trying to do. My friends, when they put out a new podcast episode out there, I do my part. I listen to it. I give it a stream, and then I go ahead and share it on Facebook. I'm not just going to share it without listening to it. I got to give them their streams. I rate it, and then we move on. You know, that's all they ask. If they have a Patreon, if it's a reasonable price per month, I go ahead and support that as well, because I want everybody to succeed. But what I'm not going to do is go all the way out of my way for somebody who's not going to give that same energy back towards me. You know what I'm saying? A big thing of mine in 2019 was telling people to keep that same energy, right? So that's what I'm going to stay on. And hopefully everybody else kind of gets on the same wave with that one. So that's what I want to leave behind. People that will not have that same energy that I'm giving towards their dreams and their goals towards mine. Some people might look at it and be like, that's selfish. You should be doing stuff out the goodness of your heart. And I am. And it's not like I'm going to hate you if you don't. But I mean, don't expect continued support is what I'm saying. Like, everybody gets that free, here you go. But then after that, I'm not going to keep going out of my way promoting your business and your brand when it's not coming back my way. You know what I'm saying? So take that how you want. I don't care if it hurts feelings, if it steps on toes. I think it's a pretty reasonable, not demand, but a stance. You know what I'm saying? So with that, we'll move on to what do I want to add to my life in 2020. I want to travel more. I want to be international. And this is just, I want to take my family, put them on a plane, travel somewhere, and enjoy our time together while we are all here. The first thing I want to try to do internationally is go and visit my wife's family over there in the Philippines. And I think the reason I have been putting that off is because of the language barrier, right? I am very, how do I say this? Insecure. I don't know if that's the right word, but I know they speak some English over there. I know my wife will be doing most of the translation and stuff over there. But it's like one of those things where I feel as if I go over there, I want to be able to talk to my wife's family in their native language, right? In their tongue, in their language, so they don't have to try to speak English for me, right? And there'll be times where she's talking to her family in the Philippines, and on Skype or whatever, she'll flip the phone around, be like, "Here's my husband. and they'll be like, hi. And then I'm just like, hey, like American husband, yay. I want to talk to them and have dialogue and jokes and stuff back and forth. So, learning another language, primarily Tagalog, is because that's the language they speak. It's not called Filipino, right? I used to think it was Filipino as well. So, we all learned something. But I also want to go because I know I'm gonna have a good time over there. Like, if you ever been around Filipinos, they are like the African Americans of Asia. They are the Asian versions of black people because when they get together, they get loud. They have a good time. They enjoy each other's company. It's just like black people. Like, we will get together for no reason. It's no reason at all. It'll be a Thursday afternoon, and we'll sit down and you break out dominoes or some cards or something, and then somebody start playing music. It's a damn party. It turns into a party. Like, we just loud, we enjoy. Hey, like, you can bring out a deck of Uno cards, and black people will turn that thing into the most extravagant event of the day. People will gather. We will have an audience watching us play Uno because that's how we about to get in on it. And that's how Filipinos do. Like, everything is like an event, and they just enjoy the company of each other, and it's not just closed off to them. Like, the way they accept me when they have their functions and stuff, and they try to include me, and I should do more to try to include myself in there, like to not try to stand off and stuff like that. Because normally they have their cookouts and stuff. I'll chill with a few of them, but then they start doing their own thing, and all the husbands just go hang out somewhere and drink, and which is cool. I don't mind drinking with the fellas and stuff, but I just I feel like I can do more to get involved, more with the Filipino side of my family, right? So that's my goal, right? Another thing I want to do is to make sure that I add good friends, more good friends, and make sure I do my part to make sure that I see and talk to my family more. Being in the military kind of makes it hard because you're always on the move. Every 4 years, you're in some other spot. And then family who aren't in the military kind of just chill in their one spot. And for me, it kind of makes it hard because a lot of my family is co-located on the East Coast. I think the furthest is probably like 11 hours from each other, right? So big holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, things like that, they're able to go and visit and have their big Thanksgiving and see grandma and everything like that. And me, I'm over here in Arizona or Korea or Idaho or, so it's just, it costs money to go see them. And they're just like every year, like, yo, you guys gonna come through? You guys gonna come through? Nah, I can't. I can't. And it's expensive, man. Like 5 round trip tickets to the East Coast is not cheap. And we got to figure out because like my family's back east. My wife's family's over in California, which that's a 4 hour drive, but it's still driving. You know what I'm saying? Miles on the car, all that other stuff, and look at me, I'm just sitting here just thinking about money and driving and stuff. But that's what I don't want to worry about. I just need to or my family just needs to understand. I think they do, but low key, I think they don't because they keep hitting me up like, yo, you coming? You coming home? You coming home for Thanksgiving? Like, bro, y'all got, $1,500 for these tickets. But, yeah, we're close. We're close. We got a plan. We're trying to stay on our financial schedule to get out of debt and stuff like that. So, unnecessary traveling and stuff like that. Although we do have a trip coming up to see my sister-in-law graduate basic for the Air Force and all that stuff. So shout out to my sister-in-law Lonnie. But yeah, so that'll be next week or the week after, whatever. But yeah, so I know another one of my goals this year, or when I talk about travel and family, I need to see my nephew over there in Virginia. Uh, my baby sister had her first child last year. Well, actually, 2 years ago now. It was 2018. Yeah, he was almost born on my birthday, but he wanted to be a little knucklehead and be born 2 days later on the 18th. So my little nephew James, shout out to my sister Krista for bringing that little bundle of, man. He's so chunky too. Y'all should see him. Y'all should see him. But I need to see him. I need to go over there and give him a hug. But he's at that age now. If he sees me, if I go over there and see him now, he's gonna be running away from me. Like, who is this weird dude? Why does his hairline look like that? How come he don't have good hair like us, Mom? And it's Dad's fault. So my dad gave me this horrible hairline. But yeah. But those are my things. So my biggest lesson learned for 2019, my goals for 2020, what I want to leave behind in 2019, and what I want to add to my life in 2020. So I know some people may listen to this and be like, I didn't hear any goals job wise in that one. And it's because not that I do not like my job. I very much do like what I do for a living. It's just that the season for what I'm doing is coming to an end. I have the option to stay in it longer, but now after a while, you just start looking at the big picture and looking at it as, do you want to, do you want to, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like, I'm so tired of moving. On the way out here, my daughter was like, is this the last time we're moving? Because I'm tired of losing and having to make new friends. And the fact that I grew up that way, I knew exactly what she meant, because I had people who I thought were going to be friends with me to the end of time. And we just fell off because you move, right? And it wasn't, we didn't have the Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff back then. It was like either you wrote letters or you called collect or you called long distance. You had a good long distance plan, or you just didn't keep in touch, and then you just fall off. Like, I don't know where half of, like, my inner circle from high school, I don't even know where they're at. You know what I'm saying? And that sucks. But it is what it is, man. Like, as a military brat, you get no choice. Your parents get that call, they gotta move, and you move. And I feel like I need to give my kids a sense of, this is home, right? Because even now, to this day, where people ask me where home is, like, I'm all over the place, man. And not that that's a bad thing. Like, I enjoy growing up in a military household. I'm glad I could give my kids the experience of growing up and experience other countries and stuff like that. But like my little 2-year-old, I want him to grow up in a house and have fond memories in a house and be like, this is the house I grew up. This is my childhood home. Because I don't have that. I have places that I've stayed at for a couple of years, but it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no good memories. Like, you see those movies where, oh my God, I just want them to have a place. Because like my grandma, right? She's been in a house, that's grandma's house, right? You say grandma's house, you don't need no address. You don't need none of that. Grandma's house. Like, that's what I want. That's what I want. I want when my kids get older and they have kids and they be like, let's go to grandma and granddad's house and this be the house. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of moving. I'm tired of, like, if there's a way I can keep doing this job and not have to move, I would do it. But I know that if I choose to stay in longer, they are going to send me somewhere where I do not want to go. And I'm tired I'm tired if you cannot tell. I am tired and I'm ready for the next chapter, the next season of my life to start. So, my season in the Air Force is coming to an end. If amazing stuff happens at work, cool. I'm not going to slack off. I'm going to keep doing my job to the best of my ability. And if blessings come at work, then so be it. But I am done chasing them, if that makes sense. Because the way it's set up now, a lot of people have to do things out of their normal thing. They tell you to get outside of your comfort zone and stuff. And I've been doing that, and it has not been working for me. So now I'm gonna just do what is required of me and do what I do, which is be me. Uh, I did it last year, and I'll continue to keep doing it. Kicking ass at my job, and if blessings come, they do. If not, I will just go home and bow out, knowing that what I did for the last 20 years was kick ass, take names, and you know, made an impact in my job. But so that's why when you're listening to this and be like, yo, I didn't hear promotion, I didn't hear this, I didn't hear that. It's because I see the bigger picture, and I'm cool with that, right? So shout out to all y'all that are just like, we need you, don't go, you're awesome, I'll do this. I appreciate all that stuff, guys. I really do. I really do. And I'll probably talk about this in another podcast, but I think this year, or this EPR, or this annual performance report really opened my eyes, and kind of put me in this mindset. Like I was leaning towards that way, but this year, I swear to God, I'll tell you, it'll probably be a bonus episode, but I'll tell you guys all about it. I don't want to end this on a sour note, but yeah. So that's my year, old year, new year, new me type stuff. So hopefully you guys all. I don't know if you guys do resolutions, goals, vision boards, whatever. Vision board will probably be low key the way to go, since it's 2020, right? So year 2020, here's your vision board, clear, you see everything, right? But that's how Mac is trying to move in this new year. So hopefully you are trying to do it as well. I hope everybody attacks this year and gets at these goals in the same intensity that you're going at these goals now. I hope it doesn't fade 2, 3, 4 months in. I hope you keep the same energy throughout the year, because this is what I'm trying to do. And if you don't see me doing it, call me out on it, people. Call me out on it. All right? Because I will step it up if you guys call me out on it. Hold me accountable, and I will hold you accountable, right? So just let me know what you guys are trying to do, and if you need somebody to keep you on track, keep you accountable, let me know, and I'll be sure to do it for you guys, right? So that is my podcast. That's the first installment of I Said What I Said, Don't At Me. Not only the first installment of 2020, but the first one distributed by DatFeelin and my boys over there. Shout out to DatFeelin and the DatFiliates. Thanks for welcoming me in. And quick sneak peek of a bonus episode that I'm going to put out probably not this week, probably sometime next week. But I'm going to have a good friend of mine, Jedi, and he's going to be on here, and we're going to talk about this last Star Wars movie. Now, this Star Wars movie, the Rise of what is it? The Rise of Skywalker. I don't know how y'all feel about that, but after 2 weeks, I am still heated about how bad that movie was, and I wanted to do a podcast immediately trashing and damning the Star Wars saga. But I still hate it, but we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it, and if they can fix it, what we would like to see. Again, my homeboy, Jedi, and no, that's not his real name, but it might as well be his real name, and you'll find out why. So keep your ears out. Stay tuned for that one, and I'll make sure that I'll give you guys a update on when you can expect that one. But I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. I know this isn't your typical hour-long podcast, but ran into some audio difficulties, but I think I got it cleared up. The video, hopefully I'll be able to edit this and it'll be a seamless transition, and nobody will know. Nobody will know except the guys watching and you, because I just told you. But hopefully it's a seamless procedure. Hopefully Adobe works. Hopefully it recognizes the MP3 and all this other good stuff. So here's to hoping and praying that this podcast gets out there, because this one was not going to happen, people. I was just going to chalk that last one up as a L, but I felt as this needed to get out there. If not for you guys, then just for me. So I thank you guys if you're listening. So that'll be it. If you need anything, please just let me know. Hopefully everybody had an amazing new year, was able to celebrate it with loved ones as well as your holidays. And on that note, if you need anything, or if I can do anything for you to help you achieve your goals in 2020, holla at your boy. Y'all take care. Peace.
Out to be the bad guy, my skin tone was just perfect for him. By fire I was baptized, it wasn't